Now you will learn about the Triassic period of the Earth. Early in that period, there was a supercontinent called Pangaea. Pangaea was a huge landmass with all the 7 continents today mixed together into one. Later in the period, the continent divided into different pieces of continents, but they were in the same places as the continents that we have today. The Triassic period leads into the Jurassic period that was mostly populated by dinosaurs. The Triassic and Jurassic periods both had marine dinosaurs and land dinosaurs. Now you will learn about the Progenocystes. It lived on the giant continent Laurissa. Laurissa formed on the supercontinent Pangaea, split up because of the tectonic plates that split it into 3 pieces. Fossils of this organism have been found in Germany and Thailand. Scientists believe that it lived near small bodies of water, like ponds, but the organism lived mostly on land. This is thought to be true because the organism developed spikes on its tail. Over time, it developed many adaptations. Some of these may include spikes on its neck. This was caused because of the inability to retract its neck into its shell, making it vulnerable to predators. Other structural adaptations that the Progenocylus developed was its tail. It was lined with spikes and had a club at the end. This was meant to fight off predators that occasionally tried to catch or kill this animal. The purpose of almost all of its adaptations is to defend itself against predators. Another reason towards why this organism may have spent most of its time on land is because of its heavy tail would not be appropriate to swim. The Orgonotellus had a small mouth and sharp beak, and the modern-day turtle also has a sharp beak. The Progenocylus is sort of stuck in the middle of those 2 characteristics. The beak on modern-day turtles was starting to show up, and they only had teeth on the top of their mouth. All of these adaptations were structural, but the Progenocylus did have one behavioral adaptation, living on land. Paleontologists are currently unsure about how this creature went extinct. They have come up with 2 possible explanations, one being that it was alienated during the extinction that occurred in the Jurassic period over 190 million years ago. This killed many shallow water species, or species that lived close to water, because of the massive methane discharges released from Earth. The second possibility is that it lived to see the dinosaurs and then was wiped out during the mass extinction. Little was known about this Triassic turtle, and the scientists have no idea how or when it died out completely. Ichthyosaur, Greek name for fish lizard. Scientific name, Ichthyosaura, lived on Pangaea, also known as the supercontinent, during the Triassic period. The continent was a mix of all the continents that we have today, as one. The climate there was hotter than today, and because of this, there were no ice caps. The organism is believed to be a large marine reptile, but in its earlier days it lived on land. Over time, this organism had developed certain adaptations. One of these adaptations was its massive, thick ear bones. It developed this because it needed to be able to locate its food and to avoid predators. Plus, although it was a marine reptile, it didn't lay eggs as usual. It would give birth to live young. This happened because it kept the young from drowning in the deep waters. They had long cylinder-shaped bodies, which helped them to swim better and faster. The first ichthyosaur was found on land by a little girl in 1801, England. When the paleontologists started researching the fossils, they realized that the reptiles were like no other. They dated the fossils back to the early Jurassic period. The majority of mother's ichthyosaurs died during childbirth. The oldest fossils that have been found on this animal are dated back to 248 million years ago. A couple million years later, an asteroid hit the Earth and it wiped out the majority of the dinosaurs' population. Luckily, the ichthyosaur managed to survive it. Ichthyosaurs were the only marine reptiles of the time that didn't need to walk on land or survive like any other turtles or lizard-like animals. Charopteryx, scientific name, Prodepus mirabilis. Have you ever been on a plane before? Have you seen the structure of its wings? Well, airplanes have replicated this feature from a prehistoric creature known as the Charopteryx. The Charopteryx lived during the Triassic period. an extremely long tail that weighed just 7.5 grams. However, what makes this creature so interesting is the membrane that stretches between its hind legs and tail. This membrane acts like a pair of wings, which helps the Sauromictes glide, similar to that of an airplane. The wings on it help glide between trees and its forest habitat and of the swampy Pangea. Since its extinction, there hasn't been an organism with the same types of wings as the Sauromictes, which makes this animal just so unique. It went extinct during the Permian extinction. It looks similar to a flying squirrel in the fact that they both have wing-like features that help them glide from heights to reach the ground safely. The animal went extinct during the Permian extinction. The extinction was caused from climate change. This made the habitats unsuitable for most life there and killed off 95% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial species, almost wiping out all life on Earth. What is the largest category of plant? The answer is simple: gymnosperms. For a plant to be called a gymnosperm, it must have unprotected and non-flowering seeds. That means that a fern is a type of gymnosperm. Gymnosperms can live anywhere because their seeds can travel anywhere, and they are able to survive all temperatures. Gymnosperms first existed in the Devonian period. As organisms like insects started to move on to the land masses, they brought seeds of pre-evolved gymnosperms with them that they had previously ate. Once the plants had evolved to live on land, they started needing more pollination and more insects. Herbivores kept their seeds spreading all over Pangea, so when the different parts of the world evolved and separated, the gymnosperms evolved with them. The evolution of the gymnosperms was so vast that the types of these plants has made it the largest type of plant ever. The gymnosperms have the ability to conserve more water than the plants that flowered. During the climate change that killed most of the life on Earth, also known as the Permian extinction, the gymnosperms didn't die because the gymnosperms can live in any climate, so they could survive the harsh environment that came.